This outfit's so appropriate because like I look like a children's entertainer. Um, and my friend Josie, when I sent a picture in the group chat, she was like, "You look like you're about to teach us about colors." Maybe I will. Maybe I will, Josie. Welcome back, guys. My name's Leander, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about fear in art. And when I talk about fear in art, I'm getting at kind of an abstract. This is going well. When I talk about fear in art, I'm getting at kind of an abstract concept. So let's break down a little bit about what that might mean. If you find that your pre-production phase is very long, that you spend a lot of time thinking about what you want to do before you do it, not necessarily anything wrong with that, but it could be ruled by fear. If you find starting to be one of the hardest parts, like you find yourself staring at a blank page a lot. If you draw very small, that could just be your style, but it could also be a thing about fear. If you ever get an insecurity that you are wasting material, and this might not even be something that you've really vocalized as such or like thought of as such before, but for example, if you're like me and you're very lucky and you have the privilege to have access to expensive materials, and you are sometimes afraid to use them because you feel that you are wasting them when you do so. That is something that's definitely ruled by fear. The problem with fear in art, and the reason it's so bad, is because the worst thing that you can do for your art is to stop making it. And fear is something that very, very directly stops you from practicing, which is the worst thing that you can do for yourself as an artist. And it's also, not only does it damage your craft, it damages you mentally because it hurts your self-esteem when you're scared of being a waste, when you're scared of using things up, taking up space. This isn't something that's good for your self-esteem, and it's also bad for your craft. How do we get over that? And the answer to it is something that's often the answer when we're talking about fear in anything, which is to act directly against your fear. And the way to do this is to use up material as much as possible. It goes against some instinct that we have because we all want to make less bad art. And we think about, how do I make less bad art? Well, the answer is to make less bad art. But the answer to making less bad art is actually to make more bad art so that you can make good art. Nothing is too stupid to draw. You can draw anything. Just draw something. When you're looking at that blank page and you're feeling that fear, the answer is to just do something, anything. It doesn't have to be the thing that you were even trying to do. Just fill up the page and move on to the next one. We have to rewire our brains so that filling up a page, even if it's, with garbage, is an accomplishment, because it is. Filling up a page, using up a marker, these are all good things. Once that marker's worn out, you've accomplished something. Once that page is done, even if it's not even filled, even if you just flip onto the next one, you've accomplished something. You have to chew through your materials like you're breathing them, And I realize, I mentioned this a little bit before, but I am very privileged in the sense that I get access to a lot of materials, and not everybody has that sort of money. But the thing about art is that it is so freaking subjective that you have access to the materials to make art at all times. You always have the ability to make art. You can do it on the back of a magazine with a Sharpie that doesn't work anymore. I don't know. You can do it. You can make art out of thin air. You can make art out of sticks and leaves that you find on the ground. I realize that this is probably not the kind of art that you want to be practicing, but if we're practicing getting over fear, doing that kind of stuff help. Art can be... What was that? I don't know. Art, probably. It doesn't have to be tangible. It doesn't have to be documented. It doesn't have to be shareable. It doesn't have to be audio-visual. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, then that tree is a very good artist. And here's one thing. You can do a piece more than once. It's a big secret, I know. It doesn't have to be, I did the sketch, I lined it, I colored it. It can be, I did the sketch, I didn't like the sketch, I scribbled it out, I made a new sketch, and I lined that one, and then I decided that I didn't like it very much, and then I did another sketch, and then I scribed that one, and it can even be, I did the sketch, I lined it, I colored it, and I looked at it, and I thought, that's okay, but I can do better, Like, I have this piece here, and I couldn't get the pose right here, and I scribbled it out, and I tried it again here, and then I kind of had this page where I just sort of scribbled everything out, and I wrote, "I can't draw." That's not a very good thing to say to yourself, but do it, do as I say, not as I do. And I sort of practiced the face because that was something I've been trying a little bit more. I was a little bit more comfortable with that, and then I did a page where I didn't do it at all. Like the idea went to the wind. There's nothing related to that on this page. And then the next page, I tried it again, and I did a finished piece that I was comfortable with. So as you can see, it doesn't have to be so linear. You can start over a million times, and I can even get to this spot and think, that's all right, but maybe I can do better, and then I can do it over again. You always hear practice makes perfect, and you tend to think of it in this very broad, general sense. But if you think about it in terms of like, you can practice a specific piece over and over again until you get it right. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. And in fact, I would greatly encourage it, because you'll probably learn more about what it is that you're trying to do than if you were to just do it on the first try. This sort of like YouTube culture with art, it shows us these people do like sketchbook tours, and their sketchbooks are perfect, and every drawing they do, they just like seem to finish it. But you don't have to be like that. I'd encourage you to be very, very, very messy. That's how you're gonna stop fear from ruling your art, is to just be messy about it and be wild about it and use whatever you can get your hands on about it, and to be more abstract about it. Practice with whatever you can find. Even just like talking or like singing or like saying garbage nonsense to yourself is gonna help you get over fear in art, because it helps you realize that not everything you do has to be good. I think a good exercise to do is just fill up pages with whatever your hand wants to do. We develop these habits over time in art, and a lot of times the key to getting over fear is to subvert these things that we normally do. It doesn't have to be big, it can be very simple. Like, if you're drawing a human figure and you usually start with the head, try starting with the feet. If you're drawing a human figure and you usually base the head off of a circle, try using a square or a rectangle instead, And here's the thing that I've been trying to get across this whole video. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to end up good. It can just be sort of a fun exercise that you're doing. Maybe you'll learn something out of it, and maybe you won't. But either way, you've used up a page, and that's an accomplishment. You've worn down a pencil a little bit, and that's something to be proud of. I hope this video helps somewhat. If you want to see more videos like this, like, comment, and subscribe. This channel is just kind of my dump for things that I feel like doing, or at least that's what I'm going to turn it into now. Because I haven't really been uploading at all lately, but I really like making YouTube videos, and I always have, so I'm going to try and sort of get back into it. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more art tips, more content like this in the future. I'm by no means an expert, but if I mean, I say I'm by no means an expert. I've been doing art since I could hold a pencil. What is this self-deprecation that I'm doing? I am an artist, and so are you. See you next time.